Welcome back to Part 2, Unit 3, Chapter 2, Word 2016. The essential outcomes, you will be using open and closed software, as well as creating portfolios for career development. Before you start this PowerPoint, make sure that you have reviewed on Quizlet and have taken your shortcut quiz for Chapter 2. The Quizlet link is on the class website. When you are ready to take the quiz, please let your teacher know. Section 2-2, looking at prominent features. Prominent features are different than aesthetic features. Prominent features remove text from its original framework and place it in another type of format, such as a list, heading style, text box, table, or smart art. The following prominent features may be used interchangeably when setting up text with more than one column: tabs, tables, smart art graphics. Tabs, the hourglass, and converting tables to text. Creating tabs. If you look on the ruler above the document, you're going to see a small black mark on the ruler. This is a left tab. The left tab will set text as blocked or left aligned in a column. If you look on the far left side, you're going to see your little black icon that has a little L, and that black L is your left tab. To set my left tab, all I need to do is come over to the ruler, find the point where I want to set my tab. In this case, it's set on the number 2, and I will left click on the number. I can also set a center tab, which will center the column. If I go to the tab icon on the far left side of the page, if I click the left tab once, it will change to a center tab. And then all I have to do is come back to my ruler, click on my ruler at the point where I want to set the center tab, and I will be able to set it. There is also the right tab, which sets all of the text as aligned right in a column. In this example, we want to set this table up so that it's centered in the middle of the document horizontally. So I want to center these 3 columns on the page. I will first select my entire table. Then I will go and set a left tab at approximately the 3 mark on the ruler so that I can set the middle point for the second column, because that's the center point. Then I will go to the left tab and put a left tab at the 1 mark on the ruler for the first column. Then I will go to the 4.5 mark on the ruler to set a tab for the third column. After I have my tabs set, it's time for me to begin to move my columns so they line up to my left tabs on the ruler. So I'm going to place my cursor in front of the word dog in the first column, and I will hit the tab key once. This will move my first column to the 1 mark, and it will adjust the other columns to fit at the 3 and the 4.5 marks. Then I'm going to place my cursor in front of the word Siberian Husky and hit the tab key once. This will move my first column to the 1 mark and adjust the other columns to fit at the 3 and 4.5 marks. I will continue this process down the first column until all of the first column is lined up with the one marker on the ruler. And if you notice, when I hit the tab key for the first column, the following columns adjust accordingly to the left tabs for each of their columns. When you're done and you turn off your formatting marks, you look at your table, and this will give you a better idea whether or not it is centered. You might have to do some minor adjustments to make sure the texts are centered on the page. I know I did. I made some minor adjustments in my second column. When it came to the British Shorthair, Persian, Siamese, and Maine Coon, I moved my left tab. Instead of being on the 3, I moved it to about the 2.75. And then because I had the first row were column headings, I wanted to make them look a little bit more centered. I just selected that first row, and then I moved those tabs. I just adjusted them so that they would sit and be centered over each of the columns. Creating indents. On the ruler, you're going to see an hourglass. This hourglass is used to set indents. The hourglass breaks into 3 parts. The first line indent is the top part of the triangle, the top triangle. Indents are normally set at 0.5. So if you look at the example, I took the first line indent and I moved it to split apart the hourglass to 0.5. If you look at the paragraph example, you're going to see that the only line that was moved to 0.5 was the first line. The second part of the hourglass is the bottom triangle. This is called the hanging indent. This hanging indent is used for works cited pages. If you look at the example, you are going to see that I moved the bottom part of the triangle to 0.5 on the ruler. This way I split out the hourglass. If you look at the example above it, you're going to see that all of the lines were indented 0.5 except for the first line. The last part of the hourglass is the left indent, which is the base of the hourglass or the square. This will left align text on the margin, or what we call blocking the text. If you look at the example, you're going to see that I moved the left indent to 0.5. Notice the whole entire indent or hourglass moves to 0.5. If you look at the paragraph example above, you're going to see that all of the lines in that paragraph are blocked or set at 0.5. Converting tables to text. To do this, first you are going to select the table you want to convert to text by clicking on the cross in the top left-hand corner. Then you're going to select Convert to Text on the far right side underneath the Data ribbon, underneath the Layout tab. On the Convert Table to Text dialog box, select how you want columns to be separated. In this case, we want them to be separated by tabs. Then click OK. Converting tables to text. After converting the table to text, you are free to move the tabs however you want to set up the column. Congratulations, you have just finished part 2. Open up the Unit 3 Chapter 2 Activity 1 document that has been saved in your Chapter 2 folder. Go to page 2, find the table on the page. It should have 2 columns. Use the cross in the top left-hand corner of the table to select the entire table. Convert the table to text by tab. Make sure you have your formatting marks turned on. Continue to the next slide for further directions. Move the left indent on the hourglass back to the margin. Set a left indent at the 1.5 mark on the ruler. Make sure your ruler is turned on. Go to View to turn on the ruler. Place your cursor in front of the word Monday and hit the Tab key once. Go to the next line and do the same thing until you have tabbed over all the rows. Continue to the next slide for further directions. Find the words crown and trunk and add a heading to style to each of these words. Find the paragraph Hour Office Hours. Use the first line indent on the hourglass so that it is indented on the ruler at point 5. Then find the paragraph underneath step 1 and change it to a hanging indent using the hourglass. Set it at point 5. Find the paragraph underneath step 2 and using the left indent, move the hourglass to point 5. Set the right indent to 5.75. Though this was not covered in class, can you find the right indent and move it? Go to the table on the second page. Use vertical drag. Change the first column to your favorite color. Congratulations, you have just finished part 2. Before moving on, make sure you have shown your teacher your work.